paying money to assess what you know. You steady
Right.
be, it's all, it's like I said, it's a business. It's a huge business, and they stop and they take away the individual teaching. They take away the
Right.
individual, productivity, and that's why I guess I have not necessarily an issue, but I disagree with the testing part of it because it doesn't make it individual specific, if you will.
Right, right, right. And you're right, man. And how they have it set up is that, well, if you don't pass that test, you don't progress to the next grade. That's what the killing. That's the killing point, because you can't take a whole year of what somebody's been learning in school and out of school, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all about growth, right? And you put it in a test form, and just say this individual is having a bad day on their test,
Right.
a bad day, and then they take it, one of those students having a bad day, and they take their test and they fail it, and he have to repeat that grade.
Yeah.
I feel like it's unfair, and it's real unfortunate, because that should never be the case. It should never be the case. It should never be the case whether you determine if you fail or pass.
Right.
You know, if it's just to see where you are at, to
Right.
see where you're at, and this is when we get back. It goes back to most of the tests. They are culturally biased, man, because like even especially off in the only thing that's universal, man, is reading and math. It's universal. That's a universal thing. That's right. But a lot of it, man, is like I said, when you go to dealing with the aspects of the names, the names that they use. You know what I mean? Like, we grew up we stay in neighborhoods where you got the Lakeishas and the Aquarius. We hear names,
Yeah.
exactly. We don't hear it like very few Joshes, but see, a lot of people don't pay attention to that. They don't pay attention to it, and they don't. That's why they don't feel like it's a problem. But for people that pay attention to it, when you start reading some of this stuff, this material, you'll start to see that a lot of it is culturally biased, man. And you can see to where it's not designed for us to get a lot out of. A lot of it is designed to kill our desire to learn, because some of us are thinkers, and some of the information they be given, like some certain students are already past that. Because why? You got individuals like yourself, individuals like myself. We might be drilling our kids at home to where they're advanced. You know what I mean? But when they go to school, they're dealing with students that might not be as fast and learn to catch on just as fast. And, the teacher is going to say that one of these kids might have ADD, where he can't sit down. He's too easily distracted. And it's only because the teachers have to be competent enough to teach each child on an individual basis. Because, you got 20 of them that's sitting down still reading the book, taking a test, but you got 10 more that's already done, they through with it, and they got their pencils on the desk, don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff, man, it comes into play when it comes to dealing with that. So we
You know
got to
what
be
though,
busy.
man? I don't know if they do or not. Now, any people that's in school, any teachers, any instructors that's listening to the show right now, I would like for you guys to let me know if you guys are doing this. But I wonder if they have like an after test assessment, right? Like sit down and talk to the kids and ask them, how did you feel about the test? How did you feel that you did on the test, right? Do you feel like this is necessary for your education? Do you feel better? Do you feel it's you know what I'm saying? I think because they start talking to the kids about some of these things, the people that's actually taking these tests, then I think maybe they get a better understanding, and maybe they can kind of like revamp the test to fit their particular, to fit the answers that the kids are given, right? Because we're talking about if we're doing this for the children, then you may want to ask them, what do you think about this stuff?
Right, most definitely, and have their opinions about it, because you're right. At the end of the day, them are the ones that have to learn that information. They have to absorb it. And another thing that we have to take into account is that when some of those kids go home, what are they involved? What's the environment like at home? Because that plays the biggest role. And like I say, to me, in my opinion, when you're dealing with the African American community, and when we're dealing with our children, we have to be mindful of what they encounter before they even get to the door at school at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, look at what they've had to walk through and walk past. And, when we wonder why when they get up in there, man, they super hype. 8 o'clock in the morning, they turned all the way up. Man, most of them just witnessed a little bit of everything. and this, we have to be mindful of that. We have to be mindful of it. Going to school, when they hit the door of that school, and when they enter the school, what they're going on to, because you have some that don't know where to go or have nowhere to go. Some of them are afraid to go home. So, you know, a lot of that has to do with their attitude when they're about to take these tests. And like I say, man, when you just look at it for what it is, the education system, American education system, it's like it's designed to kill our desire to learn. Most of the stuff that we reading, most of it's bored, it's falsified information, you know, and we know this. We know these things. But yet, me and your brother talked about it before on one of these shows. Like, you know, I was talking to the sister one time, she was telling me that even in daycares, like even to open up a daycare, like you still have to use the school curriculums to teach the little ones, right? So that alone tells us that why is it that before they even in grade school, right, or if they are they pre-K, right, kindergarten, that you still have to use the curriculum, the school curriculums to teach them. You can't just teach them what you want, and even if you do, you still have to implement the curriculum as well. And when you think about it, because it's set up like that, there has to be a motive behind it. Because we can't say because we teach everybody on the same level, because you got people right now graduating from colleges that can't even find jobs. So whether they're on the same level of learning or not, that's totally different, right? Because this is how it's designed. Like you go to elementary, junior high school. When you leave high school, you go to college. When you get to college, you're supposed to get your degrees. And then once you get your degrees, society's supposed to embrace you so that you can go ahead and live your productive life. But how often do we actually see that happen in the African-American communities? You know what I mean? Because
it's not spread out that way, man. And a lot of times, man, a lot of mistakes that I see too, though, is young kids going off to school and college just because someone telling them to go to school and college, but really with no plan, with no game plan. Now, if you're going in, to just say you take 2 years to figure out what you want to do, right? Who's paying for that college?
Right.
Somebody, whether it's student loan, whether it's a grant, whether it's whatever, someone is paying for you getting that opportunity to go learn, or they call higher learning, if you will, or whatever. So I call it more indoctrination, but that's my opinion. Again, this is Shelton from Think About It Radio opinion. Not that I'm against all education in school, if you will. I'm just against how it really puts a lot of people sometime in a trick bag to where they got all this student loan debt going on, but really no income to balance that thing out, right? But they got all this knowledge and information, so they really wasn't smart, or the fact that they give you credit cards with no job. So they setting you up, to have bad credit from where it goes. So again, this education and information is going on, but sometimes it has to be geared toward actual practical stuff that we're going to deal with every single day. I worked several jobs, man, in my life, man, but I've never had to conjugate a verb in not one of those jobs. Right? I never had to worry about the square root and stuff like that in the jobs that I'm in. And I deal with numbers and stuff like that. And I'm not knocking those people that do. I'm just simply saying that it's not an end all, it's not a blanket fix for everybody, with all this stuff. And we talked about, again, at the beginning of the show, we talk about the standardized testing. We talking about how we just have the blanket information that they throw out there and expect people to all learn it, but everyone learns different. Everyone has a different way of retaining information, and everyone is going to have a different result. So my wish, I guess, again, for anyone in the education industry, please chime in, make a comment. When you listen to the show, make a comment on it. But my wish and my dream, again, is to make it about the student. If you're talking about the students and the kids, and that's what they're doing all this for, then make it about them. But if it's not being conditioned or geared toward that child, that individual, then it's about money, man, or it's about indoctrination. It's about something. Right? Because if the common sense is coming in, you got 9 out of 10 people saying, hey, this is not really working, this is not really the deal, then why are you still force feeding this on the masses if they're telling you that it's not working? Because studies show that a lot of kids don't like the test. A lot of students don't feel like it's necessary. A lot of teachers, man. I have a lot of conversations with teachers. They don't feel it's necessary, but they say we just have to do it because that's the requirement.
Exactly, bro. And you couldn't have said it no better. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he got a quote that he always says. He always says that he who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribe the circumference cellular activities, and it's true, man, because people know what we're being taught, right? And being that they know what we're being taught, they know the type of conclusions that we're going to draw because they created that format, they created that education, they created that you're reading. So of course they know the outcome to it. And it's just like me, man. I'm a full-time student as well. I go to school online, right, for psychology, substance abuse,
right.
And with my experiences, hands down, like I would have a PhD, right? Like, cause I've been in that world. I've been in that dark world. I know the ups and downs. I know all about it. I've experienced it, man. But yet, in order for me to get through some of the doors that I have to go through, I have to get this credential. I have to get this degree in order. Well, it's to be able to move forward. And yeah, and it should never be like that. And the reason I say that, because when you look back in history, some of our best scholars, man, Malcolm X, brothers like Malcolm X, the honorable Elijah Muhammad, some of these brothers, man, didn't have third grade education, bro. But they self-taught, right? Self-taught. And now they'll forever be remembered in history. So, you see what I mean? So when we take that into account and we compare that to just, sending our kids to 12 years of school through grade school, and then they go to college, and then, obtaining degrees that they would never even be able to use. But, the government, thousands and thousands, it's like robbery. What I mean?
It's a huge. It's like I said, when you get caught up in that back. Now, I talked to somebody about that before, right? They were like, "Well, what about they go to school, they sign up on the dotted line to get these student loans and all that kind of stuff, so they know what they're getting into." I don't really think I don't know, man. I don't know if you don't think it through, or you're just looking at a temporary fix for a situation that you're in. I have no idea. But if you're saying, okay, everybody telling you, go to school, that's how you get ahead. That's how you get to where you got to get. And you're looking and saying, okay, I don't have the income to do this. Oh, that's okay. We'll give you some money, or we'll loan this money to you. You don't really look at the immediate aspect of it, right? We're talking about 18, 19-year-old kids, and they're not looking at that. Then the parents signing off, looking at, I have time to get this paid off, or I'll pay down, if you will, or they'll get a great job and they'll start paying this stuff back as soon as possible. But we all know life happens, right? So so when they give you something, are they really giving you something?
Right. Exactly, man. And I'm glad you said that, man, because, like I said, in my experience, man, of being incarcerated, right? And this was, when I got incarcerated, I didn't even have a GED at the time. But I ended up getting it while I was down there, and just went on a learning frenzy, man, because that's all we used to do was teach each other, school each other, right? But I actually seen, and this is the sad part, I seen guys that was down there, bro, that had 2 and 3 degrees, right? Prior to being locked up, they had 2 or 3 degrees, but they still ended up in prison.
With the education, with the degree, with the knowledge, with the platform, with the blueprint. Because this blueprint right here would get you to where you need to go, right? So, and they still, again, so it comes down to the individual and the decision that they make, no matter what you made on the test, right? No matter how smart that they say you are on paper. Because if you're not making intelligent decisions in real life, it doesn't matter, because most of the millionaires and billionaires, a lot of them don't have a college degree.
Right, exactly.
A lot of them dropped out of school. And they started figuring things out on a common sense perspective, rather than this is the way we're telling you to think. This is the way we need you to think. And if everybody's thinking the same way, that's dangerous. You don't want everybody thinking the same way. That, like I told you, that's indoctrination. That's some robot stuff, man. You don't want everybody just programmed the same way, doing the same thing the same way. So you want different answers to the test, because everybody is different. You know,
Right.
so that's my biggest thing about that, man. I'm all about individualism. You know, let the people be who they need to be, and because God created them, who are you to tell that person, well, I need you to be molded into what I want you to be, and the Creator made you exactly who He made you to be, right? So I guess I have issues with that sometimes, man. When people just try to just put everybody in this little box, man, and expect it to